It will take President Trump listening to the voices.
Mr. President, the Pentagon announced it would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used.
But we have a very corrupt media. They won't even report this.
Big moves are happening on the global stage, and Africa is at the center of it all. The U.S. Africa Summit just shattered records with a staggering $2.5 billion in deals, redefining the continent's role in international business. But that's not all. Donald Trump is now stepping back into the spotlight with his first ever official Africa Summit next week, and the world is watching closely. What do these high-stakes developments mean for trade, diplomacy, and the future of U.S.-Africa relations? Stay locked in. We're breaking it all down right now. Economic boost and record deals. The U.S. Africa Summit just wrapped up with a jaw-dropping $2.5 billion in new deals, marking the highest ever deal volume for this gathering. From clean energy investments to infrastructure development, American firms sealed agreements that could transform markets across the continent. A standout deal involves an American renewable energy company partnering with African governments to build solar farms capable of powering over 2 million homes. Another major contract sees U.S. logistics firms investing in port upgrades in West Africa, enhancing trade flow and reducing bottlenecks. The $2.5 billion benchmark reflects a sharp uptick from previous summits, signaling intensified economic engagement by U.S. businesses and policymakers. Analysts point out that such capital inflow not only creates local jobs, but also strengthens regional supply chains, essential for global trade resilience. Meanwhile, American investors gain access to booming sectors in Africa, where GDP growth remains among the fastest globally. This infusion of capital follows months of negotiations, with U.S. and African leaders setting clear targets for sustainable development, digital infrastructure, and climate adaptation. Government officials describe the summit's yield as a game changer, projecting multi-year project rollouts that will support economic diversification, reduce poverty, and deepen bilateral relations. With these record-breaking deals on the books, the summit has set a new standard for partnership, centering mutual prosperity and long-term investment in Africa, clean energy, and climate commitments. A significant portion of the $2.5 billion in summit deals is earmarked for clean energy, underlining both climate action and economic opportunity. U.S. companies committed $800 million towards solar, wind, and battery storage projects across Africa. One flagship initiative brings a 250-megawatt solar farm in East Africa online, expected to power 500,000 households and reduce carbon emissions by over 150,000 metric tons annually. Another project involves wind turbine installations in North Africa, with a U.S.-led engineering consortium promising local manufacturing and workforce training. These commitments align with Africa's ambition to boost renewable energy capacity and meet climate goals. Summit delegates emphasized sustainability, with both sides agreeing to integrate climate resilience into urban planning, agriculture, and infrastructure. U.S. climate envoy commented that this partnership demonstrates that clean energy investments deliver both environmental benefits and economic dividends. On top of direct project investment, the summit pledged $200 million in grants and technical support for African startups innovating in green tech solutions, spanning from off-grid solar solutions to smart irrigation systems. This holistic approach aims to ensure energy access extends beyond business hubs and into rural communities. By combining capital, expertise, and innovation, the summit's clean energy component is designed to accelerate Africa's green transition, stimulate job growth, and fortify energy independence, while reinforcing America's leadership in global climate finance. Infrastructure and trade modernization. Infrastructure emerged as another major theme. Nearly $600 million of deals are directed at modernizing transportation networks and logistics hubs. U.S. engineering giants and private equity backers committed to rail upgrades, port expansions, and highway improvements across strategic corridors. In East Africa, a $150 million project will revitalize a key port, increasing capacity by up to 40% and slashing export times for agricultural commodities. Meanwhile, a consortium of U.S. and African telecom providers announced a $200 million initiative to deploy advanced digital infrastructure along coastal ports, enabling real-time cargo tracking and boosting customs efficiency. This fusion of physical and digital infrastructure targets a major challenge: Africa's intra-regional trade currently lags at just 18% of total trade, significantly below Europe's 60%. Modernized networks aim to close the gap, facilitating smoother trade routes between landlocked countries and export markets. U.S. officials highlighted that these projects offer dual benefits. They support African economic integration and open pathways for American firms in construction, logistics, and technology services. A senior trade representative noted, "We're investing in Africa's future by weaving networks that span roads, rails, and digital highways." By knitting together transport arteries and digital systems, the summit's infrastructure deals promise to catalyze export growth, reduce costs, and support broader regional development goals, while solidifying mutual commercial ties. Tech innovation and digital economy. The summit spotlighted the digital revolution, with approximately $500 million dedicated to tech-focused agreements spanning fintech, e-commerce, and digital skills. U.S. and African startups are collaborating through joint accelerator programs aimed at scaling innovations. A flagship deal commits $120 million to expand mobile money platforms, targeting expanded financial inclusion across rural regions. In one groundbreaking partnership, U.S. cloud computing giants will open data centers in 2 African countries, offering secure, affordable infrastructure for local businesses and public institutions. These data centers are expected to lower latency, boost cybersecurity, and empower homegrown software firms. Additionally, American and African edtech companies pledged $80 million toward digital literacy training, benefiting over 1 million youth. The focus here is not just tech deployment, but building talent pipelines, spurring entrepreneurship, and integrating Africa's workforce into the global digital economy. Summit participants pointed to Africa's young, tech-savvy population, expected to double its internet users by 2027. Harnessing this demographic dividend through targeted investment is seen as a pathway to fostering national champions and attracting foreign investment. A tech envoy noted, "This digital wave will fuel job creation, enable small business growth, and anchor Africa in tomorrow's global marketplace." By weaving together capital, infrastructure, and education, the tech and digital economy deals reflect a shared vision. Africa as a digitally empowered partner, and the U.S. as a committed ally in that transformation. Agriculture, food security, and health. Agriculture and food security also featured prominently, securing $300 million in combined public-private partnerships aimed at strengthening supply chains and improving resilience. A core investment commits $150 million to modernize farming through U.S.-backed agri-tech and precision farming tools. This initiative will support smallholder farmers with climate-smart irrigation systems, training, and mobile-based advisory services. An estimated 200,000 farmers will benefit in the first 2 years, boosting yields and incomes. Another critical deal channels $100 million into cold chain logistics and storage solutions for perishable crops, reducing post-harvest losses by up to 30%. This infrastructure will link rural growers directly to urban markets and export channels. On health, U.S. biotech firms pledged $50 million to expand vaccine manufacturing capacity in Africa, focusing on routine immunization and pandemic preparedness. The summit emphasized that food security and health are deeply intertwined. Strong agricultural systems safeguard nutrition, while robust public health infrastructure builds resilience. A health envoy remarked that investing in agri-food systems and biotech is investing in the well-being and stability of communities. Financing includes technical assistance, regulatory support, and co-investment from African governments, ensuring local ownership and sustainability. Collectively, these efforts aim to reduce hunger, create rural employment, and buffer against global shocks. The integrated approach, spanning agriculture, logistics, and health, reflects a commitment to deep-rooted development, complementing broader economic engagement. U.S.-Africa Strategic Dialogue and Trump Meeting Preview. Finally, the summit laid the groundwork for deeper strategic dialogue, culminating in the announcement of the first-ever Trump-Africa meeting scheduled for next week. While President Biden's administration hosted the summit, officials confirmed former President Trump will meet with African leaders on July 12, 2025. The focus is expected to center on regional security, trade continuity, and leveraging private sector momentum from the $2.5 billion in deals. Analysts see this as a signal of sustained U.S. political interest in Africa, transcending administrations, complementing business rounds, government representatives engaged in high-level policy talks addressing security cooperation, democratic governance, and climate adaptation funding. A joint communiqué pledged continued collaboration on counterterrorism, maritime security, and cyber threats. African leaders welcomed the bipartisan U.S. interest, noting that continuity strengthens trust and long-term alignment. The upcoming Trump meeting carries symbolic weight. His presence could underscore the enduring geopolitical importance of Africa to mainstream U.S. politics, as American voters increasingly recognize Africa's strategic role. Diplomats suggest both administrations share an interest in deepening ties, even if approaches differ. Whatever the outcome next week, U.S.-Africa relations are entering a new phase, where record-breaking deals, shared policy goals, and high-level engagement reinforce a mutual commitment. With the summit's momentum building and the Trump-Africa meeting on the horizon, it's clear that Africa is firmly on America's radar, economically, politically, and strategically. The $2.5 billion headline is just the beginning. As Africa rises as a global powerhouse, deals like these aren't just news, they're shaping tomorrow's economy. And with Trump's upcoming Africa summit stirring both curiosity and controversy, the stakes couldn't be higher. Will his visit open new doors or ignite old debates? What's certain is that U.S.-Africa relations just hit a whole new level. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts in the comments. Big stories, bold insights, only here. Catch you in the next one.